What can you tell us about the injury and where it's going?
Greeny, I just checked in with a source on this. I was told that nothing firm has been decided. This is pretty much shaping up to be a game-time decision. He is seeking second opinions on that shoulder to figure out next steps. But the Browns are going to take the next 36 hours, see how he feels leading up to game time. But the implications are huge here because a torn labrum, he's going to need surgery. It just depends on whether he needs it now or whether he needs it after the season. The Browns are already out with 2 tackles up front, their best 2 running backs, so a lot for Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, to consider here.
And that really does set up a fascinating situation because here's a player in Baker Mayfield who bet on himself this year and is playing beyond the season for extraordinary amounts of money. If he gets the surgery now, it essentially shuts down the rest of his season. This is a tough spot for him to be in.
I mean, I hate to see it. He is being very tough in this situation. He seems like a very tough guy, but they don't pay you for toughness. No one's going to reward him for fighting through this and playing poorly. If he was coming off of a series of really good games and he got the surgery now, then it's fine. He can use that to springboard him to a big contract. But if he finishes the season and then gets the surgery at the end of the season, that could hurt a little bit too, but it's not on his throwing shoulder. So now he's in a tough situation, and I know he's not thinking about, or at least he'll tell us he's not thinking about his contract right now, but he needs to play very well in a situation where he is not 100% going forward, and that's a really bad place to be.
Look, when someone has $150 million riding on the outcome of something, it's not criticizing them to say it's reasonable that would be a part of their decision-making. Tim Hasselbeck, how do you see all of this? And let's analyze what a quarterback, some will say, well, it's not the throwing shoulder. Obviously, this is a significant injury. How do you think this impacts his ability to lead this team back from this problem?
Well, I think it's a big problem for him in terms of his ability to lead the team. Look, here's the situation with him. He is a good player, not a great player. And now he is a good player that's at about, 70% at best. And I thought it was really interesting when he talked after the game. We all saw the hit, from J.J. Watt where he re-injures that shoulder. But then he said after the game, so he dislocated his shoulder then, and then it slipped out one other time in a non-contact situation. That is where I think it was like, whoa, wait a minute. The instability in his shoulder is obviously something that's a big problem, and I think is going to continue to be a big problem going forward. You can harness it, you can do all those things, but if it's sliding out in non-contact situations, I think there's a very real possibility that he's got to get it fixed before the season's over. It's one thing to have a partially torn labrum. It's another thing to have it completely torn, which is also what it sounds like. And I'm just not sure he's going to be able to avoid it.
And that's the reality. This is an injury you were telling us before. This doesn't get better with rest. It's going to have surgery at some point. It's just a question of when.
There's no blood flow. It's not muscle, so it's not going to heal. Like you have to cut that out. I tore my labrum in my hip at one point, and eventually you have to cut it out. It doesn't get better. You have good days and you have bad days. And I feel like you're a quarterback who's getting hit. It's going to be bad a lot.
This is a team some people, and I'm raising my hand, picked to go to the Super Bowl this year. Are they finished?
Yeah, I think they are. They're a run-based team with no healthy running backs. They have a quarterback who's mediocre, who's playing at 70% health at best. They don't have either of their starting tackles. Their defense hasn't played well this entire season, and they're in the division with Lamar Jackson. Yeah, they're done.
Outside of that, things are going great in Cleveland. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.